All right, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you those of you that are here. Thanks for tuning in. We have some really great strategies to share with you guys today. We're going to be talking about recording multiple videos. So we're going to share with you the best practices and strategies that we ourselves use to produce more content, and that some of the best content producers out there use to really scale up their ability to make more videos. Now, the title of this presentation is Batch Recording for Social Media. However, there are other applications that this is going to cover as well. If any of you guys have ever heard of drip sequences or automation, this is also going to be a perfect application for batch recording, because in a drip sequence, you want to have a series of messages that are going to be shared over a length of time. And that's, again, where batch recording can become very useful, because you can sit down one time and build a workflow for 1 month, 6 months, 1 year for a given contact. So that's what we're going to be covering today, guys, is the best strategies and techniques to record videos in batches. Now, let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. Those of you that have popped in, if you guys have any specific questions along the way, definitely feel free to drop them into the chat. We'll be able to answer those. You know, these rooms are a little bit more intimate, so we can have conversations. And we'd love to hear any experience you guys have in recording batch videos, or any frustrations or successes that you may have had as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this presentation. And again, if you guys have any comments, questions, take part in the chat. We have Ina here taking it. She'll be in the chat as well, sharing resources, and we'll be each taking our turns here. So let's do it. All right, here we go. I'm going to present. Oops. Present, full screen, present. Okay, so guys, as I mentioned, the topic says social media, batch recording for social media, but this does have other applications as well. So this means for email marketing, for text message marketing, for, of course, social media posting. This includes YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. All of these content, all of these channels will be covered with the same strategy. Even if you're doing like podcasting, same strategies are going to apply that we're going to cover today. So let me go ahead and actually just get in. Why should you batch record? Why should you bother with this strategy? The number one thing that batch recording does for you is it's going to save you time. Instead of every day or a couple times a week trying to do this process we're going to show you, you're able to get into a groove, and you set one time aside where you're able to produce this content and just get it done all at one time. Now, this won't be a perfect fit for everybody's applications, but it will be a great fit for most people. So that's the number one reason, guys, we want to batch record, is I'm going to show you with these couple strategies we're going to share that it will save you a ton of time, especially if you're recording or producing videos with any sort of regularity. And we know we should be, right? That's the whole goal. That's why we have a tool like Dubb. We need to be producing more content via video, because that's the easiest way to scale ourselves, duplicate and clone ourselves, get more business passively through evergreen content like videos on social media. So number one, saves you time. Number two, it's also going to make it easier, because for a lot of us, we don't have permanent setups, right? Like maybe you're on a location, maybe you only have a certain window of time. Maybe you have like a big light or a microphone, and you don't have those things set up. Or maybe you have kids. Maybe you can't record throughout any period of the day. So this ability to block a schedule of time in order to create multiple pieces of content ends up being a lot easier for, like, from strategy standpoint, from an availability standpoint. So even those with temporary setups, like a location or a big light that annoys the wife or husband when it's sitting in the room, let's get that set up and knock this stuff out one time, and then we can move on with our lives. So the last and final primary benefit to this, there's multiple, but the other one is it's going to help you stay consistent, because a big part of batch recording is planning and scheduling. And when you have a plan, when you have a schedule, you're likely to stick to it. When you don't have a plan, there's nothing to stick to. If you don't have a schedule, what's going to happen, right? Every day you're going to have to try to come up with something to then plan, to schedule, to stick to. So that's the overall strategy that we're going to be talking about today. These are the benefits from implementing the strategies, which is going to be saving you time, making you more consistent, giving you a reason and a plan and an ability to output at a higher level. It's also going to make this thing easier to actually do. We're going to show you the steps to make it actually easier to record in bulk. So, Rob, anything to add?
Yeah, implementation, just knowing your own situation. That's probably one of the most important things. You know, you got to realize, okay, what is my situation? Jared said geographically, what's it like during the day? You have to think about, okay, getting ready to batch record requires planning, but first step is obviously knowing you and knowing what your situation is. That's like the most important.
Got it. Well, let's actually get into the steps of batch recording, guys. So, number one, how to batch record. The very first step of this, guys, is going to be the planning phase. So this incorporates a lot of different, or encompasses a lot of different components of planning. We're going to break down each of these for you sort of step by step. It's sort of obvious, right? Yeah, I have to make a plan, but we're going to really break it down for you and show you what you actually need for planning. The first thing for planning is, what is your actual requirements? What do you physically need? What do you need to get set up? And so technology, right? You have Dubb that's going to answer the vast majority of your technology needs, whether you're recording for social media like Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, Reels, that's where most of these batch recording videos are going to go. Or you're recording for a longer format like a full widescreen YouTube video. There's going to be just a slightly different setup depending on the type of content you want to create. Is this from a mobile device? Is this from your screen, just a webcam? How much editing are you doing? So this is the very first thing, is having the technology that you need, the software component. There's also the hardware component. There's the light, there's a microphone, there's a setup. So there's this actual requirements that you have to have before you're going to be doing recording. And they're variable. Like if you're going to be on location at a place, the requirements are going to be different than if you're in your own house, right? A lot of us, again, don't have permanent setups like studios or places to record videos that are ideal. And so maybe temporarily setting up is a part of the physical requirements here. This is, again, why batch recording is very useful, because if you have any sort of these limitations, then you can overcome all those limitations within that window that you've scheduled. So technology that you need, the vast majority of it is covered with Dubb. You do need still a cell phone or a webcam. We don't cover the camera part. And then we always recommend some sort of lighting, guys. If you're outside, you can find natural light that's good. Just make sure it's not destroying you, like if you're in the direct sunlight, it's probably not going to be perfect. Same thing with indoor lighting. Make sure you're not backlit. A little ring light goes a long way in making your videos look professional. So this is just all part of the technical setup, because once you have this set up, it's a set it and forget it, right? You've invested in your setup one time. So that's the technique we need. Rob, any piece to add here?
Yeah, some similarities here too. If your style is, if you like having a virtual background, there is some similarity with the text. So if you had the basic website recorder with Dubb, you could have a virtual background behind you that you're speaking about when you're making the video. You could also take the desktop app, crunch it into that 9:16, and you're going to be the bubble there. So slightly different. You're a bubble, but you still have virtual stuff that you're talking about. And if you get on the mobile app, you're physically going to be on there with a virtual background, which I'll show you guys a little later, where you can point up to something. So there is some similarity across the technology if that's your style. So you really have to lean into what your style is.
Exactly. Are you a mobile recorder, or do you prefer working from your computer, or a combination of both? So this is the first step, guys, planning. And it all starts with the top of the planning phase, which is either one of these two strategies. You're either going to find inspiration from something that's currently out there. Like if we're talking about posting to social media, and you're in any given industry or vertical, like a coach or real estate or any professional service, you can follow people that are already doing what we're talking about. They already have a lot of content out there, and you can find inspiration from that existing content. Now, that's one method, right? You can take people's existing content and sort of repurpose it in your own words. You can also research your own content. And we actually here at Dubb, we do a little bit of a combination of both. We find inspiration from people's content all the time, And more often than not, we're researching the content that we should produce. So this means like keyword research, understanding what the keywords we should be creating content around, what is going to fuel the idea for our content. We're not just going to randomly record stuff and hope something works. We're going to do a little bit of research, understand our audience, understand our goals, and that's going to help us research what we should be recording. And again, this is multi-layered. So whether you're talking about social media like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, or we're talking about the drip sequences, your marketing automation. You want to send one email once a week for 6 months to keep this person engaged, just for example. Either one of these use cases, batch recording is going to help you plan this content. So finding inspiration is where you're going to look at other people's stuff, researching with either the AI tools, right? Literally, you can type into the AI, right? What are 10 topics I can do videos on to accomplish X goal? I want to convince people to buy a timeshare. What are 10 topics I can do on this? This is so available to you guys now, right through Dubb, right? We have the AI built directly in the platform. That's where you want to record 15 videos, say, what are 15 topics on this subject? There's your 15 content ideas. Or you can do this manually. You can go into Google and type in, what are 10 topics, and then sort of bullet point your own ideas. The AI is probably going to fast track that for you and just give you 10 topics. And once you have your topics, this is either from ideas, inspiration from somebody else's page, somebody else's content, or you've built your own list, or it's a combination of these two things. So this is the first phase of planning though, guys. You actually have to have an idea, a strategy for what you're going to be producing. This is unique for each individual, for each vertical, for each industry. For real estate, there's so many examples out there, right? For any given position where you're not running a completely unique business, like if you're doing software, if you're selling insurance, any of these topics, there's so much content out there already to digest and to learn from and say, oh, well, I want to do this. This sounds like something I would create. Or again, you're researching it manually and coming up with the content yourself. If there's any questions or feedback about these two phases, guys, I'm interested. Which would you prefer? What is your preferred method for how you're going to come up with your content? Are you looking for inspiration from others? Do you need to see other people's ideas before you feel comfortable recording? Or would you feel more comfortable researching your own ideas and say, well, this is going to work well for my audience, I'm going to record this? Let me know in the chat. Would love to hear what you guys think is a better strategy for yourself. Would you prefer to look at others for ideas, or prefer to listen to an AI or Google on what topics you should create? Okay, once you have your topics, right? It's 10 videos, it's 15 videos, whatever those content pieces are. You found 15 pieces to be inspired by, or you told the AI to give you 10 or 15 topics. You now have your 10 separate topics. Now we need to move to the outlining phase, where you're going to break down each of these topics into an actual video, into an outline. So this means the title. What is the video called? What is its content about? What is the overall message of the video? Is it going to be an educational video? Is it a testimonial? Is it a video at a location? So this is where you're going to actually outline the video itself. How many scenes is it? Is it just you sitting and talking? Are you sharing a screen? What is the message? What is the goal and the outcome of this video? And you have 10 of those topics. Because you've just researched them, you've built your list, and then you're going to construct an outline for each of those. So are you guys seeing why this is easier to do in a batch situation than it is to do in a one-off? Because you're either doing all of this, on a daily basis where you are researching a topic, you're finding inspiration, then you're going to keyword, make sure this is good for your audience, then you're going to outline, and doing that each day versus blocking a set of time and doing the same thing for several topics at once. This is really the key to batch recording, because when you're in a groove, when you get in the zone of doing something, you have everything you need right in front of you, you're already doing it, you just did it, it's much easier to do that same thing again. versus having to get reset up every different day or every other third day or once a week, however often you can get in to do one piece. So again, this is why this is an effective strategy. And this is where most people that are producing large, pieces of content, that are producing content often, this is exactly what they're doing. Whether they have a team or not, that's sort of regardless of this, but this is a strategy that individuals can do. We'll actually share some stories with you. We've done this ourselves and have done it. So we can take you through exactly what that's been like. Any questions on the outlining phase? Any feedback? Welcomed, guys, because there's one last piece, which again, each of these sort of move into the next one, where one phase is leading into the next. So first you're getting your inspiration, your research, then you're outlining each of those. And then from there, you're going to be creating your actual scripts, your actual scenes. What is actually happening in the video itself? Go ahead. I see a hand.
That's Ruben.
Hey, it's
it's Ruben. What's up?
Hello from Maui, guys. I'm super busy over here doing my batch recording, but I just had a moment just to pop in.
Nice.
And I wanted to kind of share this idea that I sort of stumbled upon when it comes to coming up with topics, which is we all have this pot of gold, and it's right in front of us. And some of us remember to go look in this pot of gold to find the topics that will do the most good for our businesses. And I'll tell you what that pot of gold is. It's actually in our sent folder in our email, also in our LinkedIn messages. So if you look at the messages that you're sending to people, based on the questions and the topics and the comments that you're getting from people, those are the things that you're most frequently conveying to people. Those are your frequently asked questions. So if you start to go mine topics, mine ideas from your sent folder, you realize that there's a lot of great topics that you can actually find. In fact, when I go into my sent folder, I see people asking us, hey, what is the pricing for your product? Hey, how does it work? How do people onboard? What are other people saying? What are some of the accolades, some of the awards that you've won? How can I solve this? What if I don't feel comfortable being on camera? All those questions have been asked probably at some point, and all I have to do is go into that sent folder, and chances are I can mine a lot of topics. The key is to go and document all those. So we use Asana, and that's where we sort of create our content calendar. You can use whatever you want. You can use a spreadsheet, you can use a Word doc, you can use tasks within your Dubb dashboard, whatever you'd like to use. Just make sure that you document those and start to sort of mine those topics. So that's just been a kind of a pro tip for me.
Nice. Heck yeah. I like Matt's tip here. He says, so I keep a couple shirts around to change for my batch recording, so it doesn't look like I'm in the same shirt for all my videos. That's a pro tip, definitely, Matt. Yeah, that's one of those things that you will only uncover once you've done a couple of videos. You're like, wait, it looks like I'm the same guy all these days. So love that, Matt. Thank you. Gigi, do you have a sample of the outline phase? That's a great question, and not currently, but that's exactly what Ruben just mentioned. We're going to listen to you, and we're going to produce something here for you. I think video is probably a great format for that, like how to produce an outline for your content, because that's the first phase. Once you have a solid outline, that's when we're moving into the next one, which is the actual scripting. So we'll come back to that, Gigi, maybe even in this lesson a little bit later. So let me jump back to me here. Okay, so after the outline, which is basically what is the scene, what is the topic, the name of the video, what is the end goal, what do you want people to do? You want them to subscribe to you, to respond to you, and then work backwards from there. So you have your content, you have your goal, and then work backwards. So that's the strategy. We'll go into further there. But once you have your outline, then you actually have this very specific things that you need to say. So, hello, John, here's what I wanted to do, or hey, everybody, here's the message I want to share with you today. Now, scripting doesn't have to be word for word, guys. If this is something that you're super comfortable with, you don't have to actually use a script or teleprompter. You can definitely speak off the cuff, but knowing what you're going to say, that's at least going to go into the outline. So you have some bullet points, you have a beginning, middle, end. You have at least in a place. You don't have more editing to do after, regardless of whether you're going to do work. You're going to show different slides you're going to show on your screen, or perhaps you're on location. You're actually physically recording stuff from different scenes. I got to think my internet was unstable. You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the overall planning phase. Find inspiration or research, bullets, outlines, topics, titles, outcomes, right? What is what is the outcome? What is the goal of that particular video? It's educating them. It's getting them to book a time to respond to whatever. Then you're actually writing the script. So this next piece, that one's actually supposed to come up next. We'll come back to it. The teleprompter, guys. As I mentioned, if you don't need it, fantastic. Don't use it. We end up using a teleprompter quite often. I use a teleprompter a lot, especially if I'm going to be, it's a very specific script, something technical, something I don't feel like memorizing or can't speak off of the cuff, like it's not natural. There's bigger words or things like that. So the teleprompter really makes batch recording very possible, guys, because you can use the AI for every part of this. So I showed on the previous step, the research phase, right? You use the AI, say, write me 10 topics on this subject. Then you take that one topic and you say, great, write me a 100, 300 word script on this topic. And so you went from nothing to idea to topic to script, all in like 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes tops, depending on how many words you selected. And then now you're able to record that. So this is really streamlining that whole process that used to take a very long time. Like you sit there and discuss with either yourself or another person, and then you write a couple ideas, and then you research and see if this is good. And then anyway, a lot more work than using the AI in 1 or 2 iterations. So come up with content ideas. Take one of the ideas, write me a humorous, encouraging, informative script that's 100 words long on this topic. Script, teleprompter, ready to record and post. So this is, again, where the technology, along with the strategy, is going to save you guys time. It's going to make this whole thing possible. So if there's any questions, guys, on the teleprompter, on the AI, I saw in the chat, several of you guys are using it. So I'm very proud of that. Whether it's Ira or some other one, congratulations, guys, because this is the future of being able to increase your production. We're not alone here, right? Everyone's trying to increase what they're doing, trying to do more, better quality, higher quality, more content. And this is how we're going to get ahead of that race, or at least stay pace with it. So again, guys, any feedback or questions on the teleprompters, on the AIs, I actually want to take a moment and show you guys part of the setup here is actually getting set up with your teleprompter. We will come back to that. I'll show you guys specifically that. So this one here. Rob, anything to add before we start this slide?
Yeah, just from a general perspective, just real quick on the inspiration thing. A lot of the channels that we follow, we all have our own people we like to follow, and we're very inspired by them. We listen to them, what are their comments, what are their questions, what are they talking about? A healthy mix of knowing your own audience and then who you're inspired by is pretty good. Another way to get inspiration is through the comments that people make on the people that you follow. Maybe they want to know information about a certain topic. Well, that's a great video idea. I should do something addressing that. So I think it's kind of a combination of that. And real quick on the scripting with the scene, when you're doing scripting, like when Ruben and I do Rev Show, what we do is we break it out. So we do the Ira part, we do the scripting there, but then it comes to the shooting script pretty much, which is almost like you're making like a little film almost. Not to be intimidated by that. It's very simplistic in terms of that, but you want to plan it out. So we have 6 blocks, and within those 6 blocks, there's 6 different scenes. Maybe one I'm talking in front of the fireplace. Maybe the next one I'm outside. Maybe you're in front of the screen. So it's really related to what do you want to convey, what's your setup, what physically are they seeing, along with the script that's written in the text words. And the last part about the teleprompter real quick, the great thing about it is when you use Ira and you give it the human pass, you're giving yourself the best chance to say what you want to say in the best light possible. A lot of the times, if we go off the top of our dome, which, you know, a lot of us can do, you know, you can do it's great. But if you take just that little more time and just sit there and do it, you can really craft the message the way you want it. And you're being very efficient with your words and the most effective. That's what we found. And the last point I'll make is this: production wise, think about TV shows, you know, YouTube videos, anything where you're producing something, there is a time element to it. You know, how many times okay, I've got like another 20 minutes. I got to get this done because I got to get this out. So let the technology make it easier to make the production move along quicker, because a lot of the times you can get stuck on something if you're not letting the technology help you get it done efficiently. So that's something to remember.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we've now planned, right? We researched, we have our content topics, we even have our scripts. So we're actually ready to start recording. And this first list here, setup recording. This is actually simplistic because it can encompass a bunch of different things. We sort of mentioned this already. This means your lighting, your camera, your microphone. Is the air conditioner running? Are there, you know, cars driving by? Or what is the scenario that you're going to be recording in? Actually having this set up, whether you are permanently set up, like you can see here, Rob and I both have some semi-permanent setup where it's there all the time. We can just come sit down and then record. Many of you guys may not have that set up, so you'll need to get that thing. So I've seen a lot of people, they have a nice big fancy light. Obviously they don't want that thing popped up in their living room or bedroom all the time. So that's part of their setup. Getting your recording, getting your, you know, maybe your air conditioner's running really loudly next to your thing, and making sure that the audio is right. So setting up recording, the more you can set up permanently, right? Like we just said, semi-permanent setups, the easier this process is. But if you guys have to, if it's like, again, on location, you're shooting something at a location, or you have the temporary setup where you're putting up a green screen or a light, this is still part of the batch recording. Once you have this down to a system, it's going to make it easier to repeat this process, because you're like, okay, up goes the light, clip in the microphone, and now we're ready to set this up. And if you had to do that 3 to 5 times a week versus once, that's a lot of time saved. So your actual recording setup is a lot to think about, guys. Your distance from the camera, right? Is that the right distance? Is your frame right? Especially if you're going to be using the teleprompter, which we're going to talk about in a moment. So your actual recording setup has several variables to it: lighting, camera, audio, location. Having a comfortability with that, like, you know, okay, I can pack this here, I can set this up there. If it's windy outside, I have a lapel mic, or, you know, being prepared for those types of things that you're going to be recording. That's what this means, to be set up for recording. So it's part of the planning phase. It's this first step in recording, it's after the planning, but it's inclusive of all of those things. So like Thomas mentioned there, having some shirts hanging by your recording setup, that's part of recording, right? You're set up, you're getting ready for your batch. Now, specific to the technology itself, the software part of this, guys, the teleprompter. I'm going to actually stop my share for a second. I'm going to exit this PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you guys the teleprompter configuration, because there's actually 2 different options for this. There's the desktop setup, which I'm going to show you right now, and then there's the mobile app setup. So on the desktop, when you guys are recording, whether this is your screen or your webcam, you can select the teleprompter. This is on, if you're going to go on the computer, I do recommend the desktop app, because the teleprompter is as close to the camera as you can possibly get it. Now, when you select your script, a few things with scripting is you'll want to make sure that your lines are broken up correctly. You don't want, you know, 20 words in a single paragraph without some sort of natural break in between them. So like this is, I'm going to actually go to one of mine. Here you go. That's fine. So there's natural breaks in the sentences. The other thing is the location of the teleprompter. You do not want your teleprompter to be down here, because if you guys are reading, you're going to probably read from here because that's where you set it to, and it's going to ruin your eye line. So make sure that you're either not reading from down there, or you've adjusted your teleprompter to stay just at those top 2 lines. Now, you'll also can adjust the size here based on, your vision and your preferred speed. And then the final element is the speed of the teleprompter itself. And you will want to practice with this, guys. You'll want to make sure that it's the speed you're comfortable with, the size and the shape. Maybe you want it wider, right? Maybe you want it wide. You don't want to go super wide again, because if you're reading from all the way from left to right, it's going to be, your eyes are tracking. So we have it right there in the center at the top for that reason. That's usually the best location. So your eyes are right next to the teleprompter. And the best part of this whole thing is you have to set this up just one time. So look, I'm going to close this. And when I relaunch my application, it has remembered my settings. So it remembers what I set for the text size and the speed and the width and the height. So that's why, again, this is part of setup. Get it where you need it just a one time, and that will benefit you in the future. Okay, one more piece of this, which is the mobile teleprompter setup. Very similar. The only downside right now is it's not sticky yet like the desktop. So on the mobile app, same situation with the teleprompter. Make sure you guys are not reading from all the way down here, right? Stick it up like that. So you're only reading from these top lines. The difference on the mobile is that there's an auto scroll as well. So auto scroll or auto track. That's really the most important thing on the mobile, guys, is just make sure you're not reading from the middle of the screen, because it's gonna look like you're looking down here. So keep the teleprompter tight. Okay, so this is the setup of both the actual recording scenario, like your location, your lighting, sound, but then also your teleprompter setup. Let me cover one other piece here for setup and recording, which is, let me share my screen here. So this is actually, I'm going to actually show this. So gathering assets, guys, if you're doing anything repeatable, like a YouTube channel, you guys know the format for YouTube. There's a little intro, an outro, or maybe you have testimonials from your clients. The idea here is that if you have repeatable assets in your videos, like we have screenshots and screen recordings of little features, little highlights, we have testimonials, we have intros, we have other assets that we can reuse in our videos. So gathering those assets, because they're now reusable in the recording process, whether you're doing this from your cell phone or desktop, you can now take your assets that are reusable, like an intro, like an outro, like a testimonial, and you can reinsert those into these videos. So again, this makes the batch recording process for something like YouTube much easier. This is what that looks like. So I'm going to record a video. Let's say I want to do a PowerPoint presentation or a Canva presentation. So, hey guys, here's my first slide. And then I want to take an existing video. Maybe I want to show a testimonial. Maybe I want to show a feature highlight, or I want to show something else. I can now add that video. Or maybe I have an intro to my YouTube channel. So now I'm going to click OK, done, and I'm going to add that in the clips with my other videos. So this is how you guys are going to be able to reuse assets like intros and outros and testimonials and screen recordings of any useful little features or assets. So that ends up being a big part of batch recording as well, is the reusable parts of your messages. You guys want to make sure that you are saving those parts. Like here, you can see here, we have a little file where it has previously recorded videos. And I have maybe even saved on my desktop, like my intro, or I have a folder where I have these things labeled and I can pull from them to make recording easier. So again, that's why this is still part of the setup, because having those assets readily available make recording easier. So any repeatable part of your videos, have those gathered in a folder or a location. And this was actually covered there, the using multiple clips is what I was just showing you guys, where we can take the different parts of videos and repurpose them and, merge them together into new videos. So the last part of this, guys, of the recording process is the editing process, where ideally what we've tried to do is make it to where you'll need as little editing as possible, because you can do things like the thing. Let me show you some really cool things you can do on the desktop app here. So lots of variability, right? I can change my webcam. Like, let's say if I wanted to do a PowerPoint recording, during the recording, I can use the annotation tools. So I can do things like numbered presentations, like this is step 1, step 2, 3, 4, and then finally we're at editing, step 5. And this is where you're actually going to make your edits, is right over here, anything that I wanted to show. So I can be more entertaining, I can be more dynamic in a video without having to give it to an editor. Things like the ability to change from your webcam and say, hey guys, this part is super important. Let me share my screen with you and actually take you through why this is so important. Things like that, where your video has some natural editing sort of built into it. This is a process of really batch recording and streamlining it, because the more editing you're going to do, that's really what ends up slowing most people's process down, because they either have to go give it to an editor, or they're going to download and then upload to iMovie and then perform all their edits and processes there. Now, this is not always avoidable, right? If you guys want like a really fancier video with transitions and things like that, there's no avoiding that edit process. But what we want to do here with Dubb is streamline that edit process as much as possible by adding elements that would be interesting in the video itself. And then when you actually have your clips, you can trim out the things you don't like, take away the parts that you messed up, add in the parts that you need to, right? Your assets that I just described, your intros, your outros, your testimonials. And then when you're done, you can trim up the video as well, taking out your mistakes, taking out things that need to be removed from the video. And ultimately, you're left with a near finished product. As I mentioned, if you want to add fancy transitions or things like that, that would still require the post edit. But there's not any reason that you couldn't make a more interesting video with the desktop app for any format. And just so you guys are aware as well, there is the same 916. So I can actually put a video or put an article in this 916 format and use the same app to record it in that format as well. So just like this, you can see now the frame is 916. So if I wanted to share my mobile device to my computer, I can make it look like I'm recording my screen from my computer. So if recording your mobile screen on your computer. So any sort of combination that you guys would want to do, vertical, horizontal, mobile, desktop, it's all possible with this same tool now. And this is, again, a part of what's going to make batch recording possible and easy, is the technology where you're not piecing all these different things together. You're not having to go from here to there to here to there. You can do it all in the desktop app. The only thing outside of the app still, and I don't know, guys, if we'll be adding this, but heavy editing features like transitions and things like that are done in iMovie or more advanced products, because those are all out there, and there's free ones like iMovie is free. So we probably won't be building robust editing features just because there's so many available, and there's a lot of training out there for that. So, okay. Rob, well, actually, let me share my presentation again one more time, and then here we go. Been talking a lot. Sorry. Let me give you your turn.
Yeah, no, the power of the evergreen video. A lot of the times, when you see YouTube videos, good intros that are repeated every time really hammer home the branding message. It's kind of a reminder of what the channel is about. If you open up with a specific topic, because we always talk about, and we, kind of should have mentioned this at the top, but your hook. What's the hook to get someone to watch the video? What is that? So the first thing they might see is, hey, this video, you're going to learn how to record 30 videos in one afternoon. Boom, it goes to the stinger, and the stinger is a reminder of what the channel is all about. So someone's first there, they see that enticing clip, and they're like, okay, and they learn, oh, this is what this channel is all about. I want to subscribe. They talk about all this other stuff, how to increase business, how to increase your sales. So I think getting an evergreen asset that you can have in there consistently will kind of hammer that nail of like not only new people, but it's also a healthy reminder of like, yeah, that's why I follow this person. That's why I follow this channel. It gives me that's exactly what I'm looking for. And what Darius showed with the crunching of the browser and the desktop app, app, you know, when you think about this, I'll show you this really quick on the mobile app, you know, like I was talking earlier about similarity of just using when you have a background, like this right here. If you're going to do a video, you have something in the background. This is on the mobile app, right? So if you use the desktop app, mobile, you have similar style to what you're showing, but there's a slight difference. You know, one has the bubble, one doesn't when you're down the bottom. So there's able to take those two things and keep the symmetry of your style. So I think when you're getting ready to record and you're using all of this technology, just a reminder, it makes it easier, like I was saying before. So just lean into what it does. It will help you a lot.
Absolutely.
I know it's helped us. So
Yeah,
you know.
right. No, exactly. I use it every day to actually do this. So, okay, guys, part 3 of this. So in part 1, we strategized, we planned, we organized, and then we drafted, we scripted. In part 2, we went and recorded 3, 10, 5 videos. We recorded them. Maybe we edited them a little. We trimmed them up so that they're now ready to post. The first part of posting, of scheduling, is where is this thing going to go? Because really you want it to be seen by as many people as possible, right? You didn't create it to be, you know, unless it's a one-off video. The topics we're talking about today are meant to be seen by multiple people. So what are your actual distribution channels? Is it YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, email, text message, direct mail, right? Like what are the actual channels that you have for your communication? And are you taking advantage of all of them, right? Which ones are you strongest with? Which ones do you feel comfortable with? Should you go out of your comfort zone? Like, let's say, for example, I was a Facebook user, right? I never used Instagram, not an Instagram person. And when I decided to start posting on social, I said, well, you know what? I want to put my stuff in front of the widest audience possible. So I'm going to choose to post on all channels. That meant Instagram, TikTok. I didn't even have a TikTok before, right? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and then of course, direct communications as well, like an email blast, a newsletter. So understanding which channels you have access to and which channels this content's going to go on, that's your first part of scheduling, of your first part of sharing this video, is get it queued up for all your channels. Now, depending on the channel, you might find that researching hashtags at this point is important, because maybe this content's older, maybe it's brand new, but understanding what's currently happening within the platforms themselves, those hashtags change often, right? Depending on the platform you're on, depending on the content, what's happened recently. So hashtags are a part of posting to several of these channels, and it's going to be a part of your post. Again, part of batch recording is you wrote some hashtags, you research them, and then you can repurpose those on the related posts. So instead of researching new hashtags every day or multiple times a week, you've done it all in your batch session. So actually scheduling posts, guys, scheduling the posts. There are softwares available. I think like Hootsuite is one, and there's lots of competitors to that, where you can actually schedule posts to social media. So there is software that does that. Or you can do it yourself manually with the drafts feature. So YouTube has an unlisted, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they'll have drafts features where you can schedule a post, or you can put a post, write every piece of it, upload the video, put all your content, your hashtags, everything, and then just schedule or have it saved as a draft until it's actually time to post it according to your scheduled date. So the process of scheduling needs to be thought out in several ways. You have your pre-planning of your schedule, which is, where is this thing going to go? Are you set up for these channels and methods? Do you have a bulk email distribution tool? Dubb is that, right? If you guys don't have one, you have Dubb. Dubb can distribute your videos in bulk through email. Every social channel, are you guys taking advantage of the channels that you should be, right? Do you have the bandwidth to do so? Are you saying, no, I'm just Instagram? So understanding your channels is very important for this whole process. I recommend omni channels. What I always say, guys, omni means as many, you know, omni has multiple meanings, but in this case, omni means as many channels as you can: email, text, social, all socials, etc. Okay. Any questions on this scheduling phase, guys, on what channels you should be using, how you're researching your hashtags, what you should be doing, what should be included to help these videos get found? or actually scheduling your posts themselves using drafts features. If you guys are using any sort of scheduling software to do so, any questions or feedback are welcome at that point. Okay. Dubb Omni, guys, this is exactly what we were just talking about. Channels, scheduling. We have built this into the Dubb app. So you can now, with a click, take your video and then post it to all of your social channels. So Twitter, I still don't use. Maybe I should get on there. But this is the option now to post using the Dubb Omni feature right from your mobile app. You can take your videos and post them directly to your socials. And this is going to be the MP4 method, which is what they prefer. They want you to upload the MP4s, not a link. So this is right up the alley of what we were just discussing. Every channel is available to you guys. Why not take advantage of it? There's certain reasons why you may or may not. Like I said, I'm not doing Twitter, so I'm guilty as you know, practice what you preach. Anyways, any questions, guys? Let me pause this, and then Rob, sorry, anything to add there?
No, that was really good. I'm a big fan of the drafts feature. I like that. It's pretty convenient. You can even just save it to drafts and worry about the hashtags later, whatever works for you for a flow. But I know creatively, when just in my own case, when you start creating stuff, you want to keep going. So it's kind of, the drafts is a nice little feature.
Good. Okay, I see a couple things coming in there now. Yeah, Twitter's now X. Got it. Yeah, let's call it X now. Okay, so one last slide I have for you guys here, which is some key strategies. We've sort of touched on these already individually, but we'll look over them all at once. Scheduling, guys, we just talked about this. You're either using a software to schedule out ahead of time, or you're putting your things in drafts. They have the drafts feature. It makes it very simple and free to use on all these platforms. You take your batch recordings, your 5 videos that you've done that day, set up the drafts. It's the final step of your batch recording. Video length, guys, is going to be key here. When you're doing batch recordings, it's going to be very difficult to do a batch of 20-minute videos like that. When you produce a 20-minute end result video, that's probably everything you could do in that setting, because it's more time consuming. So this strategy is really more about short form videos. It's not impossible to batch record longer videos. The researching phase can be done in batch, but the actual recording phase may take some time. So this strategy does work best with shorter form videos, like 1 minute or less. And in fact, YouTube Shorts, Reels, these channels, the videos need to be 1 minute or length or less for most of them. I think, TikTok, you can go 90 seconds or more. But most of these, like especially if you want to repurpose the content, guys, you want to put the same video on everywhere, right? Because why not? You could take the same video, but if it's 90 seconds, maybe that doesn't work for shorts or for reels, or maybe, so make sure that it's the right length. And in this case, the 1 minute mark is a fantastic length because it's very digestible, very repeatable, and it's acceptable to all social platforms. So always keep your video length in mind when you're doing your researching, planning, and recording. Because again, longer ones will take time, guys. You will make mistakes. You will need more edits. You will need more time. So again, we talked about this a little bit as well. The hashtags and SEO friendly titles. Guys, if I'm going to make a video about what, something with my name in it and then something else, like nobody's researching my personal name really, right? Unless maybe you're in real estate, you have a lot of bench ads or something. My point is you want titles of your topics that are SEO friendly, hashtags that are SEO friendly. So like, what are people actually searching for? What is your audience that you're trying to reach? What are they actually searching for? You want your topics to be related to that directly, because A, it has the best chance of actually being discovered through search, and B, it has the best chance of actually being shown or recommended by the social platforms when it's relevant for your audience. These platforms like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, they are interpreting the content of your video, like the title, the description, what you're saying in the video. They're interpreting that and then showing it to your audience, or the audience, based on their interests. So having your keywords, right? Understanding like the key message in there, the SEO friendly title and content in the video, along with the hashtags, give you the best chance of having this video be shown to the audience it's supposed to be shown to. So not random things, right, guys? Like we don't want to come up with topics and stuff that only us or ourselves would be thinking of. We want to think of what is our audience, what is our ideal customer, what are they searching for, what are they looking for, what would they actually type in to Google or a search, or what are they watching. This one's a nice pro tip and actually goes along with the tip that Rob mentioned, which is your hook, right? A powerful hook, which is in the beginning of the video. Drop, make them a big promise. Say, I'm going to show you something awesome. Check it out. And or you're going to give them a cliffhanger at the end where part 1, right? Here's the first part of this answer. Subscribe, follow, check out the next part. Both of those strategies, powerful hooks and cliffhanger endings, those are, again, that's not a technology thing. That is a pro strategy of once you're actually creating these videos and remembering to add those little bits of topic into your video itself. Now, along with those guys, there are other little micro strategies. Like if this is for YouTube, you have to do the subscribe to this channel, guys. Make sure if you're finding value in this content, hit that subscribe button. But if this is for Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, that's not a thing, right? And people aren't subscribing and people won't connect to that. They're gonna be like, wait, this was a YouTube video or something. So you do want to make sure that your content is relevant for your audience always, which channels is going on. And those little pro tips, like the powerful hooks, leave them with a cliffhanger, part 1s, part 2, part 3. People want to continue to watch stuff like that. It's a implied promise that there's more content like this coming. So little tiny things like that will also increase your guys' performance on your individual videos. It does become difficult, like, when you're batch recording, you have this quality versus quantity. In this day and age, guys, you need a little bit of both, right? You can't put 100 videos of you just talking and nothing happening. That's probably not going to get great traction in the beginning. So you do need a combination of both quality and quantity, because if you're only putting one video out a month, that's not going to build up the steam. It's not going to tickle the algorithm the way we need it to, because all of these platforms, they want you to post more. They reward you for posting more. And this is why batch recording is so useful. You can sit in one sitting, record everything you need to, or half of it, and then you have your content for that week, that month, that whatever batch that you've done. So you need to be doing this if you want to get the benefit from the social platforms. You need to post regularly, because otherwise they won't show your stuff to anybody. I've actually seen this personally. Like when I'm posting something regularly, my views and engagement typically go up. And then if I'll take the weekend off, I'll take several days, 4 days off or whatever, and then I'll come back and post something, the engagement's much lower, like half. And then I'll get consistent again. I'll post for 2 or 3 days, and then and then my engagement will come back up. So I have noticed that specifically with myself. So it's also what they say. Everybody says the same thing is true. And again, guys, this is not the first time we've taught batch recording, because we know that it's going to allow you to make this thing work. When you can master this skill, you're going to reap the benefits from it. If you're not doing batch recording, I highly doubt you're able to post every day. It's very difficult to do so. If you're having to research and record and then, post every single day, that's going to take a big part of your day, versus if you just batch recorded it, then you have everything you need for the week. So we know this is one of the things you guys will have to adopt if you really want to make it on social, right? You want to do the right thing and get the following and have the results happen. We got to do all the things right. It's just like dieting, you got to eat the right number of calories. You got to eat the right number of meals. You got to post the right number of times. Otherwise, you're not going to get the best results. So, Rob?
Yeah, just a couple final words on this. What worked for us when Ruben and I were doing some batch recording, what really worked for us and was successful that we found when we did it was really paying attention to the time. These are going to be a minute or less, because we're going to do a bunch of them. Okay. Now, if you're doing a longer form content, like a YouTube video at 6 to 8 minutes, you're not going to be able to punch out a bunch at one time. Because again, it's more work to do that. You can do it, but we found the little keys to success were time, minute or less, definitely using Ira in the teleprompter. It made it very, very quickly to record. One little quick trick was because on our end, we have an editing team. You know, we have a team that does editing, so it depends on what your situation is. But I was able to put all the scripts for all the videos in one of the scripts. I saved all of them in one script, and I just went through and did all of them at once. I just plowed through all of them, and it was very convenient. So we just sent it over to our editor, Seb, who's fantastic, and he did his thing. That's if you have an editor, okay? But if you don't, it's okay though, because you just break it up into the separate scripts, minute or less, use a teleprompter, and really focus on your messaging. So that IRA part and that human pass, that's like one of the most important things that takes maybe a little bit longer, but think about how long it would take if you didn't have the technology. So that's something Ruben and I have really used. The other part is this. If you have longer form content, if I have a YouTube video I did that's a 10 ways to use AI for sales, which we've done. If I've done that, we can take each one of those 10 things, and that's a separate video. The repurposing really helps with batch recording. So you could have a mind full of content that you don't even know exists. You could have these email blasts that have gone out to like your clients and customers and say, wow, that's a great topic. I already have that done. In fact, the script is done. So if it's a video, you can just put it into Dubb, Darius, do the whole download the text thing, and then you put it into scripts and you got that right there. So it is waiting for you to do it. But I really emphasize, like, if you block out a period of time, like say it's 3 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours, whatever it is, just know that by the time that time is up, that's the time you got. Because if you try to sit there and make everything perfect, you're going to be there for hours upon hours upon hours. And that's just not what you want. So stay efficient with it. And the last thing I'll say is this. With YouTube in particular, the one thing we try to implement is once you say the hook and you get into the video, probably about halfway through the video, by the way, if you're finding interested in the content you're watching so far, hit the subscribe button. And then we do it at the end. So having those evergreen kind of videos and that constant consistency of reminding someone why they're here and what action to take, that really helps. So, but at the end of the day, have fun doing it. You've set aside the time, lean into it, and focus on what is that person looking for. Oh my God, they found your video. Now these are the 10 things I wanted to know. So you're really providing a service for everyone too. So
I'm going to answer some of these questions as well, but I did want to also mention, guys, the application of batch recording for workflows, for automation. I know many of you guys want to take advantage of automation. You want to send emails and text messages and stuff in your sleep so you can qualify and nurture your opportunities while you're on vacation, while you're doing something else. And this is where batch recording can be extremely helpful as well. So it doesn't have to be for posting to social. This is in fact how we always record our drip sequences. We meet, we knock them all out at one time, and then we set up our sequence to go out based on the rules that we built. So multiple applications for this, guys. The skill transfers over, and it will be extremely helpful for you to master this skill. Like for myself, I do small batches. Like right now, I do some like fitness content outside of Dubb, and I'll do smaller batches. Like I'll go record some footage, and then I'll take that same footage and make 2 or 3 pieces of content out of that same footage. So that's another form of batch recording, right? Where I'm just repurposing, like Rob mentioned. You take the one YouTube video and you make 3 or 4 different ones from it.
And think about too, Darius, like, and Darius could speak to this because he's done it, is the fact that the reason, Dubb was born and did so well is because he put a lot of emphasis on SEO with the titling of the videos. I mean, think about just a simple comparison video of BombBomb versus Dubb, or some features someone's looking for, and they found the answer to that. So with these social videos, it's the same kind of concept. People are looking for something. So not only make it fun, but make it useful, and you can actually build your business out as well.
You got it. Thomas, you got a question there. Is there any way in Dubb to invite people to leave videos unattended? For example, having someone leave a testimonial video. It'd be cool to be able to string together several. So Thomas, are you there? Yeah. Okay. I see you, buddy. Yeah. So there's a video testimonial feature. Have you seen that, right? Where people can send a video reply to you. And so then, oh, you haven't seen that. Okay. Well, let me show you that to you really quick. So part of a Dubb video is people can respond to a video with their own video. So there's a button that you can put right here. You see it says reply with video. When you click that button, it does not require them to download or sign up or install anything. They just have to click to give access to the library or the recording in the camera, and then they can send a video to you. And then you can then download that video, put it into clips, put it into the desktop, merge it, all that other stuff that we just showed as well. So you got it, buddy. Exactly. I love when people ask questions and we have the answer. It's like my favorite thing. Seriously, it's amazing. So yeah, Twitter's now X. Good. Okay, guys, any other okay, here we go. Matt, is the Maui virtual background one of the Dubb options? Not a default, not yet. Maybe we'll put that in there. So good. I saw some of you guys' feedback as well about the combination of AI and your own knowledge. That's usually the best strategy, is like, you know what your topics you should hit are, but sometimes maybe the AI helps you just outline them and say, okay, well, here's 10 ideas. Those are the 4 that I want. So I like the combination. We always say adding the human intelligence to the artificial intelligence is going to be the best result. So good. Okay, guys, anything else we can answer for you in today's session? This is the strategy of batch recording. Again, we know if you master this, you will benefit from it. We're in the process of mastering it ourselves, and one step at a time. All right. Well, thank you guys for your time today. Any questions at all, do not hesitate to reach out, come back and give us your feedback. How's your batch recording going? Let us know. We'll subscribe to your channel and come watch your stuff, guys. So love to see it. All right. Happy hump day, guys. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.